Nilisha has been a direct student of mine, and she has graduation, if I'm not mistaken, in zoology. And later on, she came to anthropology, and she decided to take up social anthropology specialization. And and she has done her masters very well, and I think she received very good marks. And after that, she joined for MPhil and under me. And during that MPhil time, she decided to choose a topic which was related to mental health. And she came in contact with some of my friends who were mental experts. And she decided to then make it as her career. And so she was initially planning to go to Germany, but ended up in United, London, UCL London, where she is now doing her PhD under one of my very good friend, Susu Jadhav, who is a very well-known mental health scientist and has been, I think, running an NGO in Delhi called Banyan, if I'm not mistaken. So she's there now. Right now, she's on sabbatical, and she is into student administration, if I'm not mistaken. And she's also part of the high-level committee of UCL, University College of London, COVID-19 response. So, and the topic that she has chosen is, if I remember that we had very recently, we had research scholars, recent advances in anthropology, and there a very important paper was presented by Dr. Indrani Mukherjee, and that was basically addressing the issue of fieldwork in the change situations. And I think Kritika in her presentation also raised this issue of how she's finding it very challenging to collect our data in webinar. So I think she is also going to address and her topic is reimagining the field, ethnography in a post-COVID-19 digital era. And I think it's going to be very exciting paper. Many people are asking what is going to be the method of anthropology, how it's going to change. Let us hear it from Nilisha. Nilisha, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. So as Joshi sir said, I completed my MPhil under him, and and of course, he also taught me during masters. So there are many schools in anthropology. I like to think of myself as following the Joshi school of thought in anthropological fieldwork and methods. So I know Kritika has raised several important points about researcher, life balance and the toxic work culture we're often in. And then what I'm going to speak in next 5 minutes would be heavily sort of intertwined with my own experience here, as well as the learnings that I've had from UCL and how it could be applied to, the university situation in general and say fieldwork in particular. So basically, I'm on a sabbatical, but it should be my last year of PhD. So I'm done with my data collection phase and data analysis, and I'm only struggling with writing. So the COVID situations did not really impact me in a manner that has impacted people who are beginning their research or who are in a data collection phase or data analysis phase as well, because there are a lot of softwares that university provides and one cannot afford at home, or we just don't have the proper equipment. So it did not really affect me in that way. But because I'm on a sabbatical and I'm also working at the Students Union as one of the sabbatical officers, we were very abreast with whatever is happening in students' life, what university is doing to alter, and then a lot of social science sort of guidelines from the university shifted in the manner saying, if you're collecting your if you're doing a social research or a qualitative research, please try thinking of doing interviews online or via phone, or via other methods of social media. And then analysis as well. A lot of software was made available to students. A lot of journals and databases made their papers and other resources open access and other things. So, as Kritika said, there has been a push that this sort of environment, which is very consumer oriented, especially in the UK and the USA, universities are seen as a consumer resource and not as a public good. So a lot of this consumer-based sort of resources were made open, or were forced to be made open, because students started demanding back their fees. They started saying, haven't been really teaching us. So why are we paying you this exorbitant fees, especially as international students? So just like fun fact, international students bring £7 billion worth of money to the UK economy every year, and that is like all basically UK universities. And so in those terms, how things have shifted to say, like, I won't say it's like a drastic shift. There wasn't anything like that before, but okay, everything has changed suddenly. Things weren't changing, but how have they taken a definite shape of sort of what it stands like now in terms of things going online, resources going online? So I was also like a teaching assistant at the time of university closure in around in March, and we were asked in 2 days to move everything online and like to gear our classes towards online lectures, and we weren't sure about platforms. And this is when UCL is a part of 24 Russell Group universities, which are known for their worldwide excellence in research within the UK. And this is when UCL has a robust online structure. We have like a dedicated platform for online teaching, which is called which is hosted on Microsoft Teams. There is Lecturecast that captures lectures for students with disabilities and other things, but these things were not being utilized. Like, these things were always underutilized, and a constant complaint from disabled students in the UCL was, why is Lecturecast not being made available to everyone? Why can't we watch recorded lectures if our mobility is restricted, or if we can't really make to campus? After COVID, all of this just changed. Everything was online, everything was available, everything was made so streamlined. And then, of course, things changed, but then the adaptation to it was so quick that it made me think, if we can move this quick, and if something has propelled us to move towards this so quick, how does that impact, or what does this mean for, say, fieldwork in our own ethnographic research? I will speak from like a sort of qualitative research perspective, because I'm a qualitative researcher largely. So I was just thinking about fieldwork, and like how we grow up studying this Malinowskian idea of fieldwork, that you have to stay 1 year apart, from far away from your home, no connection to your home, and stay at least a year in a foreign, exotic sort of setting where you don't understand nothing about the other culture, and you just take in, and all the sort of like terminology, as well as how you do research, those guidelines and stuff is based on that. And I was thinking, like, as Mahajan sir mentioned earlier, right at the beginning, how different moments in time, like world wars and other things, have changed fieldwork. I was thinking, like, is this right? Is this now the right time to sort of thinking how we could like reinterpret fieldwork in a different manner? Can we move away from the Malinowskian idea of going to an exotic location at least for a year? Why not more? Why not less? Of course, people like to do ethnographies for more time. For a year in a new culture and other ways, especially in our current environments, not just during lockdown, even when lockdown is lifted. So say these days, I mean, post-colonial world, we have really stopped exoticizing cultures. I mean, many haven't, but like theoretically, it's a good thing to stop exoticizing cultures. So say if I or you, any of you who are studying, who want to take up research, or if anybody else wants to, like, say, study a group of youth, and my own research is now focused on university student mental health. So I want to study university students. Can I say that I have done good fieldwork if I haven't gone into their meme culture, if I haven't seen their locker room chats, if I haven't gone into, like what social media profiles they have, how they interact with each other, so all these modern things, we cannot just sort of keep social media on one side and say, oh, we have lived 1 year in this village and we have studied everything about youth or anything else, but we haven't analyzed their social media profiles. We haven't seen how they behave on an online gaming platform. So that sort of thing. But what I'm saying is, life has sort of changed very, very heavily in the last 2 decades after this neoliberal wave, after internet made, like after internet and all the Microsoft DOS and other things became mainstream. Life has changed so much that this online virtual platform is now an inherent part of our identity. We are not really complete without it. So can we say, do we need to do 1 year rigorous sort of stay back in an area and study their festivals another bit? or do we want to focus on the modern sort of variants of life, how they have come about? And this was, of course, in making before COVID, but only now it is so much more visible right in your eyes that you cannot just ignore it. So just a few thoughts on that was I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, I was gonna say oh, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, no, I was gonna say similarly on the similar question about what Heyman said. It's just like a little bit in touch of that. Even say like mental health and other bits, if we are studying them, are we now going to say that, oh, let's do this let's do this uncritical import of Western psychiatry and counseling and just impose them on these people who are migrants or who are facing mental health crisis, even university students, without like sort of thinking that how to adapt these things in this platform, like whether we need sort of an Indian version of doing it. Because I've studied both in the UK and India, and I've done research in both situations. I'm very well aware of like this is a time where knowledge is global, especially with COVID. Like I've been to webinars that I didn't even think existed. I've been to so many webinars where like webinars were closed. Those webinars, if they would have been seminars, they were closed beforehand to public, but now they're open. And it's like a sharing of global knowledge. You can be anywhere and you can be sharing the knowledge from anywhere. But then we need to adapt that knowledge to local systems. And then in that sense, I think changing fieldwork would be a very, very good idea. I'm not saying give up the traditional fieldwork entirely, but sort of changing it to much more focused sort of from it. I was talking to Avitoli ma'am the other day, and then she was talking about her way of saying that it is a smart ethnography. It is so this smart ethnography, whatever ma'am calls, and it's widely called in healthcare and biomedical research as rapid ethnographies. So rapid ethnographies aren't really time bound in the sense that you have to spend 1 year in the field. You take a focused problem and you want like focused data on it, and then you go to field, whichever your field is. It could be an online field, it could be a field within a clinic or a psychiatric inpatient ward, or it could be a field even for workers or any other like population or phenomena you take. So you go to field with a focused problem, and then you shape your findings through that particular focus that you have, and then you do a selection criteria of what will meet your criteria and other ways, which is like a lengthy process, and we won't go into details of that. But rapid ethnographies, I think it's a time for them to move out of healthcare. It's a time to move them out into sort of mainstreaming anthropology and keeping up with the times where things are moving at such fast pace. And I think anthropology is doing increasingly good. Like I've seen in the past, like even in my references, I've seen some really great papers which are capturing the, like the realities. But a lot of realities have now changed so fast that you cannot just treat online life as one small subsection of a small main theme. It has to expand into sort of, like your chapters would be religion, society, culture, gender relations. It has to be a chapter now, not just a subsection. That is what my understanding from like the COVID sort of situation is around fieldwork. So yeah, that's my take on it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Nilisha, thank you very much for your very insightful lecture, and also telling us how important this digital ethnography or whatever you may call it, because Max has talked about the space, and we're talking of virtual space or digital space, and why not? And there are no robots there are human beings, so we can extend and we can definitely think of conceptualize something kind of field work. When I did my field work for my doctorate, I must tell you, photographs was a very rarity kind of thing, very precious things. And whenever we used to click any photograph, people would demand, give us a photograph. But in recent years, what was happening in the last 10 years, that people's videos, their own videos of marriage and other rituals, and their photographs became very, very important data, which actually at the time Malinowski was not a data. And now you have said about the possibilities of social media. People are, People, after all, what are they doing in social media? And people have Android with them. They are telling people, and they are basically giving you their interview. And that's a very, very precious data that you can collect, of course, in the net, and that can be incorporated. And I think like the videos that people have earlier, when we want to do some cover marriage, we have to wait for marriage. Now you can see a video of marriage, and it becomes so that the data collection becomes so accessible, it becomes so easy. So what I'm trying to say is that, of course, there are challenges which are being provided by COVID-19, but I think COVID-19 is also providing us immense and unlimited opportunities and possibilities also, and we have to capture. And I think I'm very happy that you try to capture that. So I'm going to now, not unlike Mahajan, I'm going to open it now. And before I open it, I could see that one of the very dedicated students from Utkal, I would like to introduce to you Minati. I saw Minati there. Is Minati, can Minati come? Minati?
Yeah.
Yes, Minati.
Hello,
yes, Minati. Now I want to give Minati, let me introduce Minati to you. Minati is a very dedicated scholar and that did a PhD recently from Utkal University. Minati, I want to give you the chance to ask your question first.
Hello to all. So it's a very nice platform, the webinar, to get and to know about the different situations available around the world. Here in Odisha, of course, in India, particularly in Odisha, the same COVID situation is available, and the phobia of getting infected is everywhere. And in the this is a question of like anthropology and empirical data of that Malinowski's views are of course it is not possible and it is difficult to get into field, but right, as you just now you said that this social platform, the videos of the Facebook videos and the these videos are very good sources of information for us. It is like they are giving their interviews on their own. So right, however my question will be, sir, this is in fact from you. I would like to know from you post COVID like in India, what we are doing, what I have done with my respondents, I'm still with them, in contact with them. So how to get that rapport, to that direct contact, that feeling, that security, in a platform, social platform, it is somehow it is furnished, like we are not getting that much natural.
Okay.
So
yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. I think I can answer your question. I would love to answer a question, but I would like to give Nilisha, who is the speaker, a chance. Nilisha, would you like to say something before I answer her?
Sir, it's okay. Please go ahead. I will learn something as well. It's okay. Please go ahead.
No, what I'm trying to, what is, it's very simple, like one can get through Android nowadays, like I know Minati works with the Muslims in Bhubaneswar, and of course we can't physically go there, but once you have a community of people who are your key informants and informers who have worked there before, now if you want to connect to them, of course you can connect to them. I can connect to my people where I did my fieldwork because they have now the smartphone. I can connect to them. I can know what is happening to them. So this again, the smartphone and internet can again facilitate our recontact with our people. So we can do that. Now I think I would like to open it to others as well. Now, who would like to ask questions? And I think Avitoli, please help me. Okay, you have Mitashri Srivastava. So we can, Mitashri, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, please. Very good afternoon to all, and a very good afternoon to Nilisha. Nilisha, first I would like to just thank you for being with us today. It's always a pleasure to listen to you because you come up with interesting ideas. And I have a very short question and a brief comment. related to an interesting idea that you shared with us regarding the quick move and the adaptation that you are talking of, probably from pre-digital or to post-digital, something like that. So I was just wondering that every society has to address phases of cultural lags. So in present times, I was just wondering that the quick move that you are talking of might bring in another such problem of cultural lag. And I think anthropologists have to be very alert in the ways of tapping this problem of cultural lag. And the comment that I have is that the quick move and the adaptation that you're talking of, if you talk in context of a country like India, which is a stratified country, somehow I'm feeling it's not being universally accepted by all. For example, if you talk about the left-wingers academic fraternity, where I wonder whether I should name or not, probably the set of GNU teachers, they are probably rejecting the idea of digital education completely. So I would just like to have your opinion that in your cultural context, presently where you are in, do you find any such dualism running?
Very clear. Thank you, ma'am. So, I mean, theoretically, I'm not very, like, I can't, like, say as of now about cultural lag as well, but I can answer to the second point of your question.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, absolutely, it is dependent on the context, and also, like, because digital life is so much economically motivated as well, like, so it is also based on the economic context of the institution or the country as well. So while there haven't been any problems as such here in terms of, you know, like teachers and other institutions adopting the, say, mode of learning, and so also two of the big Russell Group universities, Cambridge and Exeter, they have said that all of their teaching and assessment next year will be online, so they won't have any face-to-face class for entire next year. So, like, while there hasn't been any sort of resistance in the UK as such, but I mean, I can really give the credit to the sort of, you know, like, the institutions are much more well funded. There is much more sort of resource backup here as well. Like, I can imagine if I were in Delhi University, it would be a bit problematic to move everything online, and it would be a bit hard, sort of, you know, like, to make this switch over in terms of learning or a new way of thinking as well. But I think, like, this is where we, you know, I mean, the world will surely move in this phase, and it has started moving already with so many things happening online already, where you would never have thought that previously it would all go online. So when the world moves in this phase, can India afford to stay behind? Can Indian anthropology then afford to have this setback of where the anthropologists in the UK and the USA and the new researcher breed that is coming up, the new researcher generation that is coming up has adapted itself to an online environment, sort of integrating online lives into real lives of people. And then Indian anthropologists haven't done that. And I know this is very much resource dependent as well. So, like, I can't really comment on people resisting or not resisting in India, because it's really context dependent, and it won't be fair for me to say, oh, this is wrong or this is right, because, you know, like, as you said.
I don't have a question. I just have a small comment. So there are people from different branches of anthropology here. So you majorly talked about ethnographies and working with different communities. There are people who are working with non-human primates and animals also, doing multi-species ethnographies. So it has become very difficult to think of a solution how they're going to work, because a major variable in these studies are ecological variables, which we're still struggling to find how to restart these fieldworks. And some field sites have been closed for a year now, and they'd have no idea when they would be able to open it, because there's a fear of transferring this disease to the non-human primates, and these endangered species would vanish if something like this happens. So yes, I mean, there are still people struggling with field work and how to restart the field work, especially based on their topics and subjects.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree, Tanya. Like, so I did say, like, mine is more say qualitative social research, but I completely agree. Even in qualitative social research, you cannot just let go of the idea of fieldwork entirely. Like, I just talked of adaptation, But I can totally agree, the people who do lab-based work and then the people who, like have data collections from, say, humans, say blood samples or anything, and then say in case of primatology and other human-animal conflict studies, definitely like it has caused a major disruption, and this cannot be accounted for in any sort of adaptation.
Yes, I have a question. I actually wanted to know, like, mental health being a very sensitive topic, like to talk about, or like doing our field work. So what I feel is like, do you have any suggestions like how to conduct research on mental health virtually, or something like doing an ethnography on it, sitting back at home, or like doing it online or virtual? Have you any suggestions for that?
I can quickly say a few lines on this, Sohini. So from my own experience, I think, and how the practice has been, say, from what I've learned from Joshi sir with my MPhil research and here in the UK, I think mental health is a topic where one has to be aware of the local context they are in. So you cannot just take, like sort of your textbook sort of understanding of mental health and just go to like say a local environment and like just say, oh, I want to know if you are struggling from depression, because this is not a terminology that like people use in their daily lives. So I think a good point to start, and I would again say how to start virtually, is it really depends on the context what you are researching, but it really depends. Like a good point to start would be, like say if you are studying if you want to study about mental health of university students, is to go on their sort of Facebook groups that they have formed among themselves. All universities have Facebook groups like UCL Freshers 2020 or DU Freshers 2020, DU Flats and Delhi University Flat and Flatmates, that sort of thing. And start from there, like gain a background understanding of how people talk in the language of like how do they sort of like how do they sort of articulate their struggles, their daily life struggles and other ways. And then if you can meet in person, just have an understanding of how people use the language and use the same language. And if you cannot meet in person, then adapt the virtual environments on like chat forums, other bits, and one-to-one, or like group chats. There are group chats as well, and then just go along with the terminology that you have understood and you have gained, rather than taking a textbook version of what mental health looks like to you.
Okay, I think that's okay. And now Nilisha, thank you very much.